Pledge. And Stu, will you lead us in the pledge?
I would. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right. Fellow trustees, have you had time to review the minutes?
Yeah. I move to approve the 3 sets of minutes.
Second. Will seconds it. Further discussion?
I have a question about the minutes.
Yeah. You can, yeah.
So it's on the record. I had a chance to review the minutes. Is this on? Hello? Okay, thank you. I had a chance to review the minutes, and specifically the February 23rd minutes when I came in here and spoke. I gave 3 minutes of comment, and when I look in the minutes, only 1 sentence was written. I said a lot more in 1 sentence in 3 minutes.
Minutes are not verbatim.
My comments were not actually even portrayed. I talked about my First Amendment violation, and that wasn't in those minutes.
The minutes are not verbatim.
Okay, well then February 24th minutes, I also have a problem with those. There's 60-plus people that took the time to come down here and testify. And when you look in the minutes, all it says is their name and whether they supported or were against. It doesn't say anything about what they said, not even a sentence. That's a problem. They came down to speak, to get it on the record, and you didn't even put it in the minutes. And then about there's also a person, Tina Tobiasen, who spoke against the mask, and she wasn't even found, she spoke in person against the mask, and she wasn't even listed there. And she did say her name and that she was from Kalispell.
I believe there's a question mark and that's Tobiasen.
Okay.
In those minutes where I think that's her name, she spoke back.
Okay.
It just says question mark again, so we don't know who that was. Okay. And then on the emails, does this keep going on and on? There is, Micah Hill said there was 637 emails, was what he said. And then I counted them up after reviewing them, and there's only 526. So it seems to me that there is 64 missing emails. Do you know where those missing emails might be?
No.
Why aren't they in the record?
I'm not sure what the miscorrection.
So then, furthermore,
all right, thank you.
The emails were completely subjective. There was a lot in there that you couldn't tell whether it was for or against, in my opinion, and they were just listed as the against and as the for. Also, it appears there's a number of emails that came in outside. What's wrong with this mic? They came in outside of the time period. Between February 19th and 23rd was the time period to submit these emails. And the number of them, which I will read, clearly show that they were not, that they did not come in that window. It looks like they came from the beginning of the school year in support of your first decision to have masks in school.
And we'll note your objections to the minutes, but I think trustees have felt comfortable with the way they were presented, and it's a pretty routine matter.
Well, voting to approve these would be a disservice to the community because they're not accurate.
Okay. Those will be noted in the minutes. Trustees, further comments?
Call for the question.
All in favor? Please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. See.
Aye.
Amy? Thank you. Rebecca?
Aye.
Rebecca? Thank you. Anyone opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right.
Hey,
Public
Lance.
comment.
Lance,
Yeah,
this is
Amy.
Amy. Hey, I apologize. That was not me who said aye. And so
I apologize. I had trouble getting on, so maybe I should just abstain because I didn't hear, well, any,
Okay.
and it sounded like there was some discussion that I wasn't part of, if that's okay.
Okay.
Or
Okay.
unless you would, okay.
Okay, public comment. This is time for public to address the trustees and members on issues not on the agenda and within our jurisdiction. We'd ask that items be limited to 3 minutes. And yeah, please step up to the microphone and state your name, and we'll proceed.
My name is Luke Smith. I have a student who goes here at Flathead. I also we're on this big science kick here, so this is a journal of infectious disease and epidemiology, adverse effects and prolonged use of masks in healthcare professionals. I've highlighted some good information that, I don't know if I can, it just came out, but good info. So my feeling on this matter with the masks, the fear that is spreading to our children is far more dangerous than the virus will ever be. We have children saying they're risking their lives coming to school every day, and that just breaks my heart to hear a kid say that. When the facts, the data from the CDC does not prove that. There's among older populations, as of February 17th, 93% of COVID-19 deaths nationwide have occurred among those 55 and older. Only 0.2% were younger than 25 years old. CDC data also shows that Americans, regardless of age group, are more likely to die from something other than COVID-19, even those in the most heavily impacted age group. I mean, you can go look this up yourself. And we have kids believing that they're coming to school risking their lives. I mean, does that not seem askew? I mean, you can't read this, you can't go online and read these facts and then believe that these kids believe they're coming to school risking their life. I mean, let's get real here. We got to, like, all you hear is science, science, science. This is science. This is what has happened. And these kids are scared to come to school. There's a problem there. We need to fix it. Okay, I mean, can we all agree on that? And these masks aren't, I mean, it's crushing these kids' spirits. It obliterates, I can't even get through this because I just can't believe what is happening with the school district. I had a daughter go all the way through here. She has a nursing degree. She works at the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota, in the cardiac unit. Okay, and she came through the school, and I was proud of the school, and what I've seen from you guys is unbelievable. I can't believe that 11 of you voted for this, and it breaks my heart, makes me sick. And I had a lot more to say, but I can't even, I'm so upset I can't even see straight right now. And just God bless America is all I can say. Thank you. And I thank you for letting me come up and comment, and I appreciate what you do. And I appreciate being here and you letting me say what I feel. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
For all you do, thank you. And it's shame on me for not being more a part of this situation. So thank you.
Thank you.
I want to echo everything that young man just said, including, not limited to, thank you for letting us come here before you. My name is Annie Bukacek. I'm a physician here in Kalispell, and I'm a member of the health board, but I'm speaking as an individual. I'm going to catch my breath a little bit. So last time I only had 2 minutes, so I wasn't able to say a few of the things I want to say, so I wrote up a copy of it, and I'll say just a few additional things this time. I had emailed you extensive documents to support my opinion that PCR testing, the cornerstone of this so-called pandemic, is fatally flawed. If the testing for the COVID is so flawed, the entire pandemic can reasonably be seen as a fraud. My documents that I sent you last time, and I have some more copies of it here, included a review published November 27th of 2020, in which virologists, immunologists, and others in related scientific fields described the 10 fatal flaws of PCR testing as recommended by the January 22nd, 2020 Corman-Drosten paper. Of the 10 flaws of the PCR testing and also of this Corman-Drosten paper, one of them, the three that I see as most critical are that this was not a peer-reviewed document. This was the document that was used to recommend PCR testing at a cycle threshold of 45. At the time, there were count them six, not 600, not 6,000, 6 worldwide deaths attributed to COVID, and they came out with this paper. So that's a problem in and of itself. They recommended a cycle threshold of 45, which even Anthony Fauci, the fearmonger in chief, said a cycle threshold 35 or greater was meaningless, worthless. I don't remember what his words. That was on podcast last July. The other thing, so there's the peer review, there's the cycle threshold that was a 45 that they recommended that's worthless. And the third of the 10 fatal flaws of this were that some of the people that were involved in this article that included their names in the publishing of this article had significant conflicts of interest, including some of them that worked for research departments or in labs that make PCR testing. So fatally flawed, this PCR testing that we're calling the so-called pandemic and tormenting our children and especially the elderly over. So, like I said last time, when health departments, including health officers and doctors, discuss the effectiveness of masks and vaccines, how does one measure the success of those things when the PCR testing, which is the basis of these things, these so-called cases, is meaningless? That's one of the things.
15 seconds.
20 seconds left? Okay. The credibility of my profession is at an all-time low in this country, as in 2020, doctors abandoned their patients and abandoned sound medical practices. Seasoned doctors know they are lying. They are either telling lies of commission or omission. Lies of commission are from the doctors spreading the scientific nonsense.
Thank you. And if you have documents, can you give them to Beth over here for public record? And Mark, can you just maybe pass that around and we'll get to Beth?
Hello, I'm Lily Smith and I live here in Kalispell. I want to thank the board for being here tonight and taking public comment. I'm a freshman here at FHS. I'm on the honor roll and I take pride in my academic achievements. I'm not proud, however, of my school board's actions. I am an obedient student and I follow the rules of each classroom I walk into, as well as the schools. I am usually a quiet and good-natured person. Standing here today, as well as participating in the walkout, has given me stress, anxiety, fear, and sleepless nights. Participating in the walkout was my last resort to get you to listen to the students. I can't believe I live in a world where adults are silencing or not listening to the children's needs. I can't believe I had to miss 7th period in order for you to listen to me. My masks are harming students physically and mentally. My mask is making me sick. I have terrible headaches almost every single day because of my mask, because you won't accept a medical exemption. My mental health has also been suffering. Every single day when I walk into school and I talk to people, I can't see their facial expressions. This causes stress and anxiety. If I can't see people's facial expressions, I don't know how to react to them. My mental health has been struggling. Do you as the school board not care about the students' mental health? Shame on you. High school is hard. When you force us to mask up, you're making our lives so much harder. I always have my teachers tell us that we are young adults and we need to start making substantial choices for ourselves. Well, one of these choices should be whether or not we wear masks. We are smart young adults. We're the future generation and we are old enough to make choices for ourselves. I feel like you're not, as the school board, doing your job. I think you need to be reminded that your job as a board member is to be a public servant. The people need to choose, not you. I would advise you to survey parents and high school students about wearing masks in school. Take the results into action, even if they go against your opinion. Another point I would like to bring to your attention is how teachers are sharing their own personal opinions during school. One of my teachers told me that his teacher was showing them an informational video about how there are 72 different genders. I have also experienced a teacher expressing their political opinions to students. On a daily basis, we are bombarded with our teachers' opinions about masks. Why are we constantly being forced to this information if we are already forced to wear masks? Are you afraid to let us think for ourselves? We as students can't form our own opinion if you keep telling us what to believe. Young adults have very impressionable minds. Teachers need to be reprimanded for their actions. Students, you need to start calling out your teachers and bringing these issues to the board. We are watching you and we will hold you accountable for your actions.
Thank you.
My name is Heather Asher. I live here in Kalispell. That should be enough. Yeah. One student should be enough. Okay? What you guys did the other night was disgusting. That's enough. One child speaking out against this, hear her voice. You had a simple solution to fix this, and it was don't make it mandatory, make it optional. Okay? Every single student in every one of our buildings is different. We are all wired differently. Some of these kids cannot wear masks all day long. Some of them are getting headaches. Some of them are sick to their stomach, and some of them are so fearful that if they take it off, they will kill somebody. And my favorite is the poor little kids in K through 8 that are convinced now, and they aren't convinced by themselves. This was programmed in their head all year, that if they take that mask off, they don't care about others. They don't care about their grandma and grandpa's feelings. They don't care about anybody else's health. That's why they're compliant. That's why they're listening and wearing these masks, okay? So take that into consideration. I don't feel like you took anything into consideration the other night. That's just based off of her, okay? I am so proud of you. Good for you, and good for these kids who stood up today, okay? Good for all of them. You guys should be proud of that. We should be proud that these students are standing up for their rights. They're not being fear-mongered by the news. They're not being controlled by their teachers. We should be proud of that. We should encourage them for that. I am very proud of these students, and I was there today to support them and remind them that there are people that do support them, and we back them up. I want everybody in this room to be feeling the same way, whether you agree or you disagree. This is the mentality we need out of this generation. They need to be strong. They need to stand up for what they believe in, and they need to show each and every one of you that I cannot believe that every one of you had the same opinion, and you all disregarded it the other night. You need to stand up, and you need to speak up. Even if it's just to speak up so we can get a dialogue going, that would be the best thing we could possibly do right now, okay? I am disgusted with what happened at last week's special meeting. You should all be ashamed of yourself, okay? You can't tell me that you arrived at the meeting with an open mind to listen to the public's opinion and then make an informed decision. There was clearly an agenda, and it was accomplished. What should have happened last week was listen to public comment, recess for the rest of the week to read every email, reconvene and discuss questions and look into the science that was presented, and then make an informed decision.
About 10 seconds.
That didn't happen. Hold on.
10 seconds.
I can take somebody else's time for 2 seconds.
No, you cannot.
There is no way you read over 500 emails and you made an informed decision off of that, Lance. I've been reading these emails for days, and both sides,
Thank you, but there's 3 minutes.
Hold on.
Nope.
Trust,
3 minutes.
just give
Everyone
me a
gets 3 minutes.
second. Why are you so fearful of
You were
what I
given
have
3
to
minutes.
say?
Because we have a long agenda.
I understand
lots
that,
of
and
people who
I'll
want to
sit here
say.
with you through it, please.
So you've got your 3 minutes.
500 emails.
3 minutes
Okay?
is what you get. No,
You're done.
you're done.
You're done.
Okay. Shame on you guys. I think every one of you should step down, resign. Step down and resign.
Thank you.
Shame on all of you.
Thank you.
I ditto what that young girl said, everything she said about the mask. And one thing that nobody's really said, I sang with a school teacher from Creston, the second and third grade teachers. During the winter months, she washed the kids' desks and made them clean their hands daily. They did not have germs going through the classrooms. That's all we need to do for our children. Make it be a choice if they want to wear them or not wear them, but we're making them sick. I found out when I went to the doctors that my oxygen level was down just just by wearing the mask for a short amount of time. If our oxygen levels drop, we die. So take the mask off our kids. The mandates, why you won't do it, I don't know, whether it's teachers' unions or what, but it's for our children. If we can make them watch CNN, we can let them take their masks off.
Thank you.
My name's Catherine Smith. I have 7 kids in the school district here from kindergarten. I have 2 at Flathead High School, 3 at Summers, and 2 at Lakeside Elementary. Since this has all started, my kids have been fighting to go to school. They feel anxious about going to school. I've had to take my children to the doctors for mental health issues. And the pediatrician literally told me, this was last week, that for 2 days straight, all she has is mental health patients that are teenagers right now. She said, I have not one physically sick child. They're all mental health issues. That is something you guys have to listen to. I have my kindergartner doesn't want to go to school because I won't allow her to be brainwashed about the masks. She knows that she can wash her hands and keep herself clean, but you guys have to start listening to these kids. They are our future, and we are silencing them. We're taking away their identities. We're creating a bunch of, like, I almost feel like it's the zombie apocalypse, that they're just all the same. And that's not what this world is. This is not what our country is. And so please, just for the children's sake, I'm tired every morning of getting up and arguing with my kids because they get detention if they have their mask down below their nose. And the same with the political comments about the teachers. I have teachers giving my kids detention if they don't agree with them. I have a teacher who said that she will make them write a paper on why masks are necessary if they pull their mask down. That is propaganda. That is brainwashing to its finest right there. And it's killing me. And I'm so proud of my children and all the kids that are here right now who have the heart to actually stand up and not drive by and flipping people off and screaming like they were today at us, at the walkout. There is something wrong there. There is an anger and a division being created by this, where we do have, it's my body, it's my choice, except when it's a mask. That is the biggest bunch of crap I've ever heard. So please, just in consideration for these children, because I do see the mental health declining in some of my own children, and I'm taking them to therapists, counseling, doctor's appointments, you know, school stuff here. It's got to stop, or it's just going to keep getting worse. And I don't understand the agenda on how everyone voted for that when it's not proving to even do anything. And if you come by this school at any given time, half the kids don't even have their masks on, right? And if that was the case, that it was that dangerous, there would be a huge outbreak all the time. These kids walk out as soon as they are, and they all jump in cars together, playing sports together, sleepovers, whatever. They're all out there together. So the difference of making them come and sit in here with their masks on all day long is just absolutely ludicrous, and I'm ashamed.
Thank you.
I agree 100%. The masks really need to go.
Can we get your name?
My name is Jake Kirby.
Thank you.
And I have school-aged children, and this is the first board meeting I've been to. And what I see, I feel like you guys are just, you got elected into your positions, and it feels like you guys, you make the rules, you enforce them, what you want. We have to stick to that. As I hear that young schoolgirl talking to you guys, I don't think it's sinking into you. This is America. You guys work for us. We need. I mean, really. I mean, please. I mean, we're all Americans. We're all people. We've got to think of our kids. This is not right. I know numerous kids from wearing the mask. Their tongues are swelling up. Their lips are numbed. They're very unhealthy. What's going on, and it is causing a lot of mental issues. We really have to. We cannot be forcing our kids to wear masks. Follow the real science. You cannot show me real proof that the masks work, because there is no proof that it really works. I mean, none of you can show me real proof. Let's not enforce something that doesn't even work. Please, please, find it in yourself. You all are capable of doing better. Standing up for do the real research and stand up for what's right. Stand up for our kids, please. Thank you.
My name is Amber Reiner. I came to my first board meeting 2 weeks ago. I had a paper written out. I had information cited from medical professionals with actual research proving that the masks are completely ineffective against viruses. I put a lot of work into that. I got cut off. I got laughed at. And I'm looking at all of you now, and I see this guardedness. And I don't think any of this is penetrating. And what I don't understand is why we have to plead to you for our children's health and well-being. It should be an option. Just like she was saying, my body, my choice. Is that only okay when you want to kill children? That's okay, but not when you want to choose to not wear a mask, because there are those of us who don't agree with that. And as you can hear, it's a majority. And I can tell you that all of the parents that I know, there's a good 80% from Flathead and from Glacier that do not agree with this mandate. It should not be a mandate. It is inhumane, it is child abuse, and it is a crime against humanity to make these children wear a mask. It is making psychological problems for them that is going to be irreversible. We are ruining generations. And you guys have to sleep with your own self at night with that knowledge that you are the ones in control of that. I don't understand how that happened. I know, do we need to vote all of you out? That's what I'm thinking. Because it's inhumane what you are doing to these children. And so then we've got these other kids that are saying, oh, you know, I'm scared for my life and stuff. We need to keep the mandate. They can choose to wear the mask. That's the thing about choice. They can choose to wear the mask. But the thing is, those are the kids that are shaming the ones that try to breathe, pulling their mask down. But it's okay for them to shame the kids that want to breathe, but not the other way around. There shouldn't be any shaming either way, okay? We should all be accepting of everybody's own viewpoint and standpoint, and stand behind the parents who stand up for their kids, and these kids who have the courage to not only come here, but to do the walkout after threats from their teachers, after threats from the principals, after threats from the vice principals. Do you agree with that? Threatening children who are trying to stand up for their First Amendment rights? Children that are trying to breathe? To stand up for our inalienable rights as human beings, okay? This is wrong. And there has to be something within each of you that knows at some level that this is wrong. And if not, where is your humanity? Do you have humanity? Why are we pleading with you for our children's safety and our health and their physical well-being, their mental well-being, their psychological well-being? This is wrong. This is so wrong. And the fact that they went outside for their protest and they were asked to take off of the school property when 2 years ago, the kids were escorted by parents and teachers to stand up against the Second Amendment rights. That was on school property. That was acceptable, but this was not. Thank you. And I hope that you guys can sleep with yourselves tonight, because what you're doing is wrong. It is wrong.
Hi, good evening. My name is Angelo Carton. I live in Kalispell. I have a few comments I'd like to present to the school board. Angelo Carton, A-N-G-E-L-O. I'd like to remind the school board of a bit of history. On January 31st, 2020, Dr. Nancy Meissonier of the CDC's National Center for Immunization and Respiratory Diseases tells the public, and I quote, "We do not routinely recommend the use of face masks by the public to prevent respiratory illness, and we certainly are not recommending that at this time for this new virus. This further reaffirms the CDC's position back in March of 2019, and I quote, masks are not usually recommended in non-healthcare settings for the flu. In April of 2020, the World Health Organization advises, and I quote, medical masks should be reserved for healthcare workers. The use of medical masks in the community may create a false sense of security. There is currently no evidence that wearing a mask, whether medical or other types, by a healthy person in the wider community setting, including universal community masking, can prevent them from infection with respiratory viruses, including COVID-19. In an article published back in May in the New England Journal of Medicine, very prestigious journal, may I note, and I quote, we know that wearing a mask outside of healthcare facilities offers little, if any, protection from infection. The chance of catching COVID-19 from a passing interaction in public space is therefore minimal. In many cases, the desire for widespread masking is reflexive action to anxiety over the pandemic. It is also clear that masks serve symbolic roles. Well, how can a cloth or surgical mask protect you or someone else from a virus? As per the official line, the alleged virus, SARS-CoV-2, is 0.125 micrometers. For perspective, a human hair is 150 micrometers. The blue surgical mask you're all wearing now, as designed by one company, 3M company, and I quote, is to be worn by medical personnel to protect against accidental contamination of patient wounds and to protect the wearer against splashes or sprays of bodily fluid. They are not effective at blocking particles smaller than 100 micrometers. I'm not saying that. That is 3M company, the company that made your mask. When we're told about how effective masks are, we should examine some of the evidence used to support this. It is naive to believe that people cannot be wrong, that the CDC cannot be wrong. It's insanity to believe that. You ever heard of Dr. Neil Orr? He was a surgeon. He was a surgeon at the Several Surgical Unit in Colchester, England. And he published a study back in 1981, and may I just cite real quickly, the use of mask wearing in surgery has very little relevance to the well-being of the patient, and it is a standard procedure that could be abandoned. Well, why did he say that? Because he and his team for 6 months studied the rate of infection in surgical rooms, wearing masks and not wearing masks, and noted no difference. But wait a minute, it's not just Dr. Orr. I can cite 10 more studies I have right here cited and ready for you that show there is no relationship between infection and mask wearing. But the problem isn't just about the lack of oxygen. I'm not here to prove all the health effects, but I'll prove one of them. What is your mask made of? It's made of something called polypropylene. It's a plastic. There's something called microplastics. Y'all should look up what microplastics are, its effect on the nervous system. And let me just finish by quoting.
Thank you. Thank you.
I respect the 3-minute time frame, but if you'd like to be educated further, I'd be happy to give you all the references. And anybody in this room.
Anyone else in the audience like to address the trustees?
I'm Madeline Bondi, and I organize the walkouts and protests at Glacier and Flathead High Schools, working with Lily. In my efforts to persuade the administration to enforce an optional mask policy, I've been threatened by principals and administration multiple times, and even taken into the principal's office. When they escorted me to the principal's office, they confiscated my invitations to exercise the right to a peaceful protest and the right to speak and be heard. There have been multiple instances where students have been led into a walkout for gun rights and LGBT+ rights. Yet, when we start thinking for ourselves and we want to make a change for the better, we're threatened and given consequences. Just because of our difference in opinion. You all have the option to wear a mask or not. We have to go to school. If we're homeschooled, we lose out on our physical interaction and our mental health declines. We have no choice. You all can avoid masks though. You forget that you're supposed to represent us and not your own opinions. That is all I have to say. Thank you.
Would anyone else like to address the trustees? And then Jason, do we have some folks online? We got one online.
Good evening. My name is Brandy Vickery. I was not planning on speaking, but these kids are braver than most adults I know, so I feel like I need to get up and support them again. I work at Swan River School, and our board just changed policy so our kids can have the option of wearing masks or not. And yes, thank you for them. I teach middle school, and I teach grade kids, and I'll tell you today, when they came in and I saw their faces and saw their joy, a cloud was lifted. Like literally, I was a different person too. I couldn't believe the change. And then I couldn't believe what I heard them saying when they would walk out into the hallway. Like, I feel like I'm gonna get in trouble if I don't have my mask on. And I mean, and I felt great, and then I felt sick that I was one of those people that had to put that pressure on them. I was on their case because I was being told, because it was our school policy, that we were to enforce that. That is not my job. That is not my job. And these kids deserve better. My child deserves to be able to make that choice for herself. I know for sure that I felt differently. I could breathe differently. I don't have any medical problems that I know of, but I have been depressed myself, anxious. And these kids were feeling the same way. They just don't even know really even what's happening to them. It's nuts. And the fact that 11 of you voted the same way, no, that should never have happened. That doesn't represent this community at all. Not at all. And disgusted was a good word. And I know that you guys are not paid. You do this because it should be because of the love that you have for your community and for your kids. And I don't know what happened, but it wasn't for the kids. I know that for sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Heather Smith. I'm a Kalispell resident, and I have one child here at Flathead High School. We've raised our children to have a great deal of respect for administration and for their teachers. We try to give the benefit of the doubt and are okay with teachers having different opinions than we have. This pandemic has crumbled the respect that we have for certain teachers. Before the start of the year, my husband and I were against sending our kids to public school because of the masking. Our kids are 12 and 15, so we talked with them, but ultimately let them make the decision. Our kids regularly complained about mask wearing, but as parents, we reminded them of their choice and that they were able to homeschool at any time. They've continued to stay at school, hoping that masks will be lifted and they can have some normalcy. As parents, we're shocked at the things being said and demonstrated to our kids daily. My kids have witnessed teachers' paranoia and fear. They listen to their teachers when they've said things like, pull up your mask or you're gonna end up on a ventilator. That is not factually accurate. Kids are shown videos on why mask wearing is important, but never shown the other side. My daughter asked what the point of these videos were when masks were forced anyway. Teachers' fear and behavior this year is pushing kids to deeper levels of fear and anxiety, or in our case, it's pushing our normally compliant kids to research data and want to push back. Today, you saw the repercussions of this. The walkout is probably not something we would have ever dreamed of letting our kids do. But when it was brought to our daughter that another student was leading a walkout, she talked with us and decided to join. After the board unanimously voting to keep masks and representing only one side, we agreed to let her walk out. My daughter has had much anxiety and fears retaliation from her teachers for standing for what she believes. This board is actively crushing the spirits of our future generation by silencing and shaming their opinions. High school is a time for building up our future leaders and not breaking them down. And the last thing that I want to say, I was raised in an abusive home. And let me tell you, you can abuse another person without ever touching them. And what is happening in our school district reminds me of the abuse I suffered as a child. Shaming our children, taking their identities, and not allowing them to have a voice are all signs of abuse. It leaves me with one question. At what point do I end up pulling the parent card and removing my child from an abusive environment? Thank you for letting me speak.
Hi, my name is Kate Opry, and I'd definitely like to touch on this mask issue. I was one of the leaders of the Glacier High School walkout, and I'd just like to briefly touch on another effect that it's having on our students.
So what I've been seeing is that the teachers that are allowed to spread propaganda about the mask and target students in school, I've seen teachers chase students down the hallway yelling at them, pull your mask up, pull your mask up, you're gonna kill somebody. I've seen teachers like yell at students over having their mask like this so that they can breathe for a second because they're out of breath running to try to get to that class on time. That's out of respect for that teacher and for the class that they're attending. And there's also a big issue with a lot of cyberbullying. We've seen so much bullying from the students who are against our walkouts. And we said, we respect your opinion, and we hope that you'd respect ours. The Glacier motto, respect yourself, respect others, and respect the building, is not being upheld. We'd like to see everybody respect everybody's opinion. This is our opinion. The people have spoken. And I'd really like to see some sort of authority step in and say, you can't let teachers propagate all of this stuff because they're supporting the students that are targeting other people. I can show you, I can make a whole list and all the screenshots, all of the threats that we've gotten for voicing our opinion on this. And I'd also like to say that I was threatened personally by one of our assistant principals yesterday morning. We were handing out flyers and we realized that it was wrong. We didn't read the handbook fully, and I apologize for that. When we were addressed by Mr. Labram, the first time he walked up to us and he said, guys, we're sorry, this is against the handbook rules, you can't do this. So Madeline and I said, okay, all right, we completely understand and we respect that, and so we stopped. A couple minutes later, we were pulled into the office by the other assistant principal very forcefully. He was angry, and he said that he was going to call our parents, and if we didn't hand over the flyers, he was going to suspend us. And then later, after Madeline left, he threatened, because I'm an out-of-district student, he threatened my position at the school, and he also questioned my faith. I don't know what you guys want to be represented in our schools, but I don't think that's it, and I don't think that our parents' voices and our students' voices are being heard. So I hope that you all reconsider your decision. Thank you for your time.
Jason, the online, two people online, can you unmute their mics? Is that how we do it? Okay, let's go to Lindsay first.
Hi, so I am attending this meeting to address the school board about a different issue, but it has become very clear to me that this is not the opportune time to raise that issue. So since I'm already here, I am a former Glacier High School student and I am a professional scientist. And I would just like to express thanks and appreciation to the school board and the administration for their work in following CDC and WHO recommendations. As a professional scientist, I am very familiar with the scientific process, and that is to identify a problem, create a hypothesis, collect and analyze data, and then reevaluate your initial hypothesis based on those results. And then you continue to collect and analyze data. And that's exactly what the CDC and WHO have been doing. And so I understand people's frustrations about changing recommendations from these bodies, but I also appreciate that these organizations are full of professional scientists like myself who are simply analyzing the data and doing it the best that they can. So I think that the school board and the administration are doing their best with the information that they have, and I hope they continue to do so. Thank you.
Thank you, Lindsay. Jason, the next person? Kim?
Hi, my name is Kim Anderson. I work for the school district, and I signed on to hear my principal talk about the great things that we're doing in our building, and I came across something far different, and I just wanted to speak up and make sure to let the board know that as an employee and a parent, I support the continuation of the masks, and I think it's made a world of difference for us being in person since day one, which is something that many schools across the district didn't even attend. So just want to say thank you and make sure that the other side of this is to know as well.
Thank you. All right, would anyone else like to address the trustees?
Hello, I'm Sean. First of all, I want to just say how proud I am of the students who stood up for their First Amendment rights today, and how incredibly disappointed I am with the administration for kicking them off of school property. It's a double standard. There was a protest in 2018 after the Parkland shooting, where students were out here protesting, like not only against the Second Amendment rights, but there was counter protesters. There were both groups. Both groups were allowed to stay on the school property. Nobody got hurt. Everybody had their opinion, their voices heard. They were allowed to protest, and that should be okay because we have a constitution. It is the First Amendment right of these children to do such a thing. They shouldn't be kicked off property. What happened at Glacier and out here is wrong. Mark Fisher was the one kicking them off the property out here today. I don't know who told him to do that or if he took it upon himself, but it was pretty funny. After he kicked them all off, he took his mask off and he stood and talked with the police officers for about 5 minutes. It was interesting. Anyway, second point, back to these emails, since you wouldn't let me read them. There is quite a few in the supports that look like they came in from a different time period, perhaps earlier in the school year. I'll just read a couple of them. I am in complete support of yours and the board's decision. Thank you for keeping our staff safe and healthy. Now, how could they say that if this came in before the board decided anything? I think it was perhaps the first board decision. Thanks for your support and comment in the commitment in keeping the staff and students safe. The Busey family is grateful for this news. And speaking personally as a sub-8th grade PE last week, I can't even imagine being with that many unmasked kids. It was stressful enough as it is. Keep up the good work. Thanks for your support. Thank you. You have my absolute support and gratitude for this decision. Was the decision made prior to the board meeting? It kind of seems like that, or this is emails from a different time. Why were the email date and timestamps removed? Micah Hill himself stood up there and said that it had to be address and name, and that it was important and it had to be in the record. You said that at the board meeting. And I don't see an address in here. I don't see a date stamp. I don't see a time stamp. We have no idea when these emails were from.
You have about 10 seconds.
And I find it very hard to believe that it was a split in person, and it was so overwhelmingly in support of your decision, which you had already made clearly.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Sierra Vickery. I spoke at the last board meeting, and I was one of the leaders along with Lily Smith at the walkout today at Flathead High School. And I would say I would do it again, and I will do it again if I need to do it, because you guys obviously didn't hear us the first time we said we don't want masks. And I personally would like to address the fact that I have never harassed anybody for wearing a mask, but I have been harassed multiple times, and every single day I go to school and I'm harassed for not wearing my mask correctly. And the teachers that are doing this, they shove it down my throat and say that you need to protect yourself and you need to protect everyone else or you're selfish. And I don't think that the teachers are allowed to actually support us in not wearing a mask, or else they'll get fired. And so that doesn't seem fair to me at all, because I know that they've been threatened, and I've definitely been threatened. And with the walkout today, I had a lot of students say that they weren't going to do it because they were afraid of prosecution from our school administration. They're afraid of in-school suspension, and they were afraid of detentions, and they were afraid of how they'd be treated after they did the walkout. And I do not think that is fair at all, because first of all, like multiple people have said before me, it is our First Amendment right to protest, and this is my school. And I have also been recommended to just transfer to probably Big Fork, where they don't have masks. And I would say that this is my school. We are the reason you guys are here. And these teachers are paid from my parents, who are taxpayers, and I am so lucky to have parents that support me. My mom just spoke up here almost in tears because she just got to see her students' faces today. And I would say that you guys are here before us, and that as a student, I want to take this freaking mask off. And I'm sorry for saying freaking, but whatever. And, yeah, sorry. And I am so disappointed in how you guys voted last time, and I'm not gonna plead with you, because this is my school, and I'm not leaving it, and I'm going to defend it. So, thank you.
Would anyone else like to address the board? Going once.
Can we go again?
Going twice. It's a good question, but no. All right, moving on. Recognitions and student reports.
Rebecca Linden, trustee.
Oh.
I'd like to make a comment, please.
You know, it's not really a time to engage in conversation, Rebecca.
Right. I just wanted to tell the two people who came to talk about something else that this is a time for the public to comment on any issue not on the agenda, and to please feel free to comment on something other if that's what they came for and that's what they want to do.
All right, fair enough. They got you. Student reports. Anyone from the middle school? Okay. Flathead High School. We have Andre and Gunner. Come on up. If you want to stand by the microphone so everyone can hear you, oh, great.
Okay, so we're here because we were reporting after the Friday of online school, and we were on the wrestling team, and we just wanted to thank you guys for voting for the state tournament here at Flathead and the day of online school. The tournament went really good. There was no major problems, and everything went as planned.
Was the plan to win?
Yeah. Do you guys have any questions about the tournament or the teachers' assignments online? Yeah.
What was your highlight?
Highlight of the tournament?
Yes.
Winning.
There must have been another one too, wasn't there?
Can't be winning.
Just being able to, like, I don't know, wrestle here, not have to take a 8-hour bus trip to Billings.
How did you guys do?
I got 4th place.
Excellent.
I lost the round before placing.
Well, congratulations to both of you. Make your community proud.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Any other questions? Hold on there. Ursula has a question for you. You're running away.
You had mentioned if we had any questions about how online had gone.
Oh, yeah.
This was our first day,
Right.
having everybody be remote. How did that go?
All the assignments were basically what we would have got in school. Obviously, we didn't do them on Friday or Saturday, but teachers also had Zoom calls for if the kids had any questions. But we just did our work on Sunday and throughout this week to make up. But it's basically just the same assignments we would have got in school.
And the rest of your friends who were doing online school on Friday?
Yeah.
You got them?
No, nothing bad or good, I guess. It's just another day of school.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you, guys.
Wonderful. Congratulations.
All right. And is Morgan Hernandez here from Glacier High School?
I think she had to run, so.
Okay. Okay. Building update tonight, we've got Peterson Elementary.
I guess I'm gonna wing it. Pull it up on my phone. Okay, so tonight I'm just gonna share just a little bit. It's a pretty broad and quick overview of some of the professional development that we've been doing this year and where we have focused some of that energy. So as a district, we have been focusing on the SEL, social emotional learning, and math. So I'm going to start with math.
So over the course of the last several years, we have been working on our academic and behavioral systems, our tier 1, 2, and 3 that align with the MTSS standards, and we've been working on the pathways in each one of those areas, reading, math, and behavior. So I'm going to kind of, math has been a focus, so that's why I'm going to share what we're doing. So we decided this year that we all know that we need to raise student achievement in math, so we are taking a deep dive. So, yeah, you can hit the next one. So this is what an academic, or this is what a pathway would look like. So when we do our assessments, and these are generally the universal assessments that they would do with teams, we have the 3 categories that the kids would fall into, so within the 40th percentile and the 25th to 40th and the below the 25th. So those are how we identify some of the areas of need for the kids. And you can see in math that there is very little in the way of what we can do and have you just compare this one, the math, with what we have for reading in a pathway. The next one. So this is our reading pathway. So you can see that the options that we have, just from taking a universal.
Not to interrupt, but, yeah, just somewhere in the middle there, but at some point, can we get an introduction to? So we have some new trustees that.
Oh, sorry. I'm Tracy Ketchum. I'm the principal at Peterson Elementary.
Sorry to interrupt.
That's okay. I don't know if you're waving at me or.
A little bit, a little bit.
So this is a reading pathway, and you can see that reading, just with the curriculum available, with the universal assessment, we can then take a deeper dive even and do skill level assessments, and we can place kids into an intervention that's really pretty specific to the skill deficit that we're looking at. So as you can tell, comparing reading to math, there are very little options in math. So, and it's not just what's available to us in Kalispell. This is pretty much nationwide. There just is not a lot of resources available, both in curriculum and then human resource too. So we're taking a deep dive at Peterson. And what does that look like? So overall, the really broad goals are this year that we are aligning our Go Math, which is our curriculum, our math curriculum, to the Montana Math Standards, aligning all of our Go Math assessments to the standards, and then doing the research and gathering resources and materials needed to support and enrich the Go Math. So what that really looks like, it's pretty easy, but what does it really look like? What does the work look like? So this is basically a 6-step process. So beginning with the identification of the standards, and I guess, Kelly, I can go to the next one, and I'll just go step by step. So the first part is to identify the standards. So we just chose to start within the unit that we were currently teaching, and we're going unit by unit. So within that unit that we're teaching, we're looking at the standards that are taught within that. And then looking to see what it is. Then we take it to the next level. We have another document, a cluster review. So there are, within those standards, there are major supporting and additional clusters. And all of the content taught within the standard, it's not equal. So there's a different focus depending on the depth of understanding, the complexity of the problem, the time needed to teach it. So we have to make sure that we're focusing our energy in the appropriate area. So after we have looked at the standards and the cluster review and we know where to focus our energy, we then go into another document that's available to us called Achieve the Core, and it aligns with our Go Math. And this document will take us chapter by chapter, unit by unit, into each one, and it will tell us, like lesson 1.1 here, it says to delete it and move to chapter 3. So this document takes us all the way through the curriculum. So, for instance, it gives the rationale of why we don't want to teach it at that point. Sometimes, like in the 4th grade math curriculum, there's a whole unit, a whole lesson or two teaching a fraction concept that is not actually a 4th grade standard, it's a 5th grade standard. So it's kind of silly to use that to focus energy at that time. So that document lets us go unit by unit, lesson by lesson, and align everything that way. Next, we go to the next document available through OPI, and that's the progression of the standards. So if we look, this will tell us from kindergarten to grade 1 to grade 2, what is the natural progression. So as a teacher, you're looking at it when you know where your kids are. You can look, if they're not understanding or not mastering, you can look at the skills below and what are they missing? Or you can look above if they are mastering it and they need an additional challenge, you can look above. So it helps us differentiate for different needs within the classroom. And then we go to test alignment. So that's another document that aligns with Go Math, and it's kind of like that Achieve the Core. So it tells you which ones to delete or to move or to modify and the rationale for that. So that when we test the kids, we're actually testing them on what we've been teaching them, so we have an accurate assessment of what they're doing. And then finally, we make sure that what we're teaching and assessing aligns with our report card, and that we have adequate and good information when we report those skill levels to parents. So when we say we're going to raise it, that sounds pretty easy, but the actual process of going deep into math is pretty complex and it takes a lot of time. So that's what we have started, and with the third Wednesday really being devoted to professional development, we're focusing a lot of our energy for that during that time, and we can use some TLC time in addition. We'll probably have to do a little bit of work on that this summer if we want to have it ready for next fall. So the second part of our focus has been social emotional learning. And we know that Montana is moving toward adopting those social emotional standards. What we have chosen to do, using some PIR hours, we created a class in the evening. We're creating a social emotional learning virtual classroom. So if you haven't seen a virtual classroom, this is what teachers are using this year, many teachers, to navigate through this pandemic through online learning. So it's a resource available to teachers. It's quick and easy, and it's at the tip of their fingers. When kids do online learning at home, especially at the elementary school, this makes it really easy for them. So I'm going to show you just very quickly what a virtual classroom looks like. So Kelly, if you'll go back to the one before. So this is our home page, and that's our staff. And so if I'm a second grade teacher and I need something, I would click on the K2, and it will take me to another slide. So these are the 5 components of social emotional learning of the standard. So if I want to work with my class and I want to teach something in self-awareness, I'm going to click self-awareness. And that's going to take me to the I can statements. So within the social emotional learning, there are I can statements just like there are academic. So we have the academic, I can count to 20. Same thing here. So I'm thinking that I need to really work with my class on identifying some emotions. So I'm going to go to that I can statement. And that takes me to my virtual classroom. And there are tons and like literally hundreds of these. And so I'm going to click on a little spot up there in the corner, and that takes me directly to an online book that I can then play and the kids can listen to, and then we can have a conversation about. So the goal is to get all T2 and all 3-5 to get lessons and resources available to the teachers within each of those components and I can statements, so that they don't, when we ask them, okay, now we want you to teach this too. We want them to have resources available instead of saying, go ahead and teach this, and then say, but you need to go and research all of this, you need to find your materials, you need to find lessons. It's right there available to them. All they have to do is click it. So, credit to Ms. Sandra and Terry Smith, because I can't do text, so they put all this together. And that's it. That's just in a nutshell kind of what we're working on.
So I know you're doing the math deep dive. I'm just curious. So did you see learning loss from last spring semester, and have we caught up, or what does that look like?
We're not seeing a lot of learning loss, no. We didn't test in the fall, so we didn't do the testing in the fall, but the winter benchmarking that we just did, comparing it to winter of last year, pretty comparable. We're not seeing huge amounts, and what we did see at the very beginning was, you know, kids, they caught up pretty quickly.
And it's been a while since my kids went to Peterson. We didn't have the gym. How is the new gym?
Well, Mitch can answer that, but it's great. It's, yeah, it's a beautiful gym. Mhm.
Other questions? Will?
Sorry, I have a few questions. What was the start of this? How did it get initiated?
The math,
The math component.
well, just looking at our scores overall, I mean, district-wide and building-wide, knowing that we want to raise academic achievement because we're not where we want to be. And we know that if 80% of the kids aren't achieving at basically that your tier 1 level, they're not proficient, you need to go to the curriculum and assessment and looking at how your programs and systems are aligning with the standards, and that's the first place you start. So knowing our teachers work so hard, but we know that we've got to go deeper and change our knowledge level and the resources that we have, and not just keep doing the same thing over and over again. We also have a lot of new teachers and young teachers that really haven't had an opportunity to go through all of this in that kind of depth, so it gives them a deeper understanding.
So when did it start?
The professional development,
Yeah, this seems like kind of an initiative or a program that you're putting a lot of energy into. So somehow it got started and somebody's kind of taking charge of it. And I'm just wondering who that is and how it got started.
that's me and the coach, basically an instructional coach, but I mean, I guess Kelly, yeah,
At the elementary level, we're on a 5-year strategic plan for math, and, last year was the second year of that. This year, we actually, put it on pause for a year, and so next year will be the third year of our 5-year strategic plan for math. So this work is being done not only in Peterson, but other schools are part of that strategic plan.
All right. And is there a lot of buy-in from the, I mean, this is extra work on your part. And, I mean, you're trying to fit it into your CIR time, but.
There's buy-in just because of the dedication of the teachers.
Mm-hmm.
They want to achieve, they want their kids to achieve, and they put a lot of time and energy into it. And so I think our goal, mine is to make sure that what we're doing is meaningful and that it's, in the long run, it's going to be beneficial, that we're not just spinning our wheels and wasting our time. But there is buy-in, and I can just say, teachers have that kind of heart, that's what they want to do. Yeah.
That's great.
But it is a lot of work, and it takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. This will be a process.
Do you have a component of measuring your success so that you can make adjustments?
We'll use our testing to do that. So that's about all we have now. So once we start getting this in, we'll have to look, we'll probably do classroom observations to make sure that what we're doing, we'll do reviews, but really it's going to be assessment to make sure if our scores are rising, then we know we're on the right track.
Thank you.
Jeff? So these are for 100% of the students. If you didn't have the virtual classroom to provide the instruction, what was the old method, prior method?
Paper and pencil. I mean, yeah, so this is all new. I've never seen virtual classrooms before, but it was basically paper and pencil. Go to we do have Google, so you can research and find things, but it would be printing lessons off or just copying them into your classroom. Now we can take other people's work and just copy and paste.
So to what degree may this be replacing Google Classroom?
Most of what the teachers do, a lot of their assignments still get posted on the Google Classroom. So this is more of just resources availability. The teachers are still using Google Classroom constantly because the assignments then get posted on there and then they complete the assignments in Google Classroom. If that makes sense.
Thank you.
Ursula?
Hi, so just a clarification, you said it's new. I was with the social and emotional learning. That's also everything that we saw here is kind of within the last couple of years has been developed, or
Well, I just showed you what we're working on this year, but as a district, we've been focusing on this for the last few years.
But the resource to be able to go in and find, like, essentially, it's like you built a curriculum for social emotional learning.
Yeah.
And that's brand new.
Well,
like
yeah.
a year?
Yeah.
This is the second year of that as well?
So this is just Peterson.
Okay.
So this is just a resource, so don't confuse that with like, this is a district curriculum.
Well,
this is, yeah.
So there isn't a curriculum though for social, yeah, okay, that's what I thought.
No.
And so how long has Peterson been doing it?
We just started this year.
Okay, fantastic, that was my question, thank you.
Well, let me clarify, the virtual classroom, we've been doing social emotional learning.
Right.
But this is just creating the resource so that teachers have those lessons available to them.
Right.
And they don't have to take a lot of time to go research. We're trying to do the work for them.
It seems fantastic.
Any other questions? Thank you. You're doing a wonderful job over there.
Thank you.
Old business, policy update, fourth and final reading. Mr. Hill?
Yes, fourth and final reading. The policy committee met again after the last board meeting to address maybe some concerns about the flow and wordsmithing, and we came up with the language that you see here. And I'm going to start on line 9, the first complete sentence of line 9. To allow fair and orderly expression of public comments, the board will permit public participation through oral or online/remote comments submitted during the public comment section of the board agenda. On an agenda item of significant interest to the public and prior to the chair's call for board deliberation, the board will take public comment. The chairperson may control such comment to ensure an orderly progression of the meeting in the manner described in policy 1420F. Online running commentary will not be recognized by the chairperson or included in the minutes.
All right.
I move approval of what's the policy number?
1441.
1441.
Nice, second that.
Thank you, Jack and Ursula. Further conversation?
This is Rebecca Linden.
Just a second. Rebecca?
Sorry.
Go ahead, Rebecca.
Thank you. Just due to something that happened tonight, I believe the rules of order say that the acceptance of the minutes is not a time for audience participation. That is an action taken by the board. So I don't know if we need to put something in there about the public does not comment about acceptance of the minutes.
I don't think we do. I probably just need to be better on the ball. I like to be polite, though.
Cool, sorry.
You're welcome. Mr. Pendina, do you have a comment, not a question?
Well, it is a question. So on line 11 there, where you're scratching out written, just a few minutes ago in the beginning of this, when I was talking about the minutes, you said that what I say up here is not verbatim. And it looks to me like you're taking in all the written documents that were just handed to you are not going to be allowed anymore. Is that what I'm understanding correctly? Because I completely object if you're not going to allow people to bring written stuff in and hand it to you, that written should not be scratched out.
Micah?
Sure. Sean, in answer to your question, we consult with Montana School Boards Association about what specifically goes into the written record as far as the minutes are concerned. And we have been advised that, generally speaking, we only need to note the tenor or nature of the comment. We do not need to take anything written from a public and include it in the minutes. What we did at the last board meeting, the special board meeting, because I asked for that written comment ahead of time and said that it would be included, that's why it was included.
I've been submitting written comment this entire year, and now no longer can people get exactly what they want to say done. I don't agree with it. Does anybody else agree with me on that?
Trustees, we'll call for the question. Further discussion?
I have a comment.
Amy?
Micah, I thought until this reading, we had oral, written, or online remote. I don't remember taking out the written for the last policy meeting.
Yeah, and
I thought for the 3 readings, we were going to have the word written in there. I think that maybe we didn't
can
intend
still
to take out written.
I agree, Amy. I don't think we intended to take written out of that. We just wanted to identify the real purpose of the change to the policy was we were having an online only board meeting. And we had someone who was continuing to enter comments into the chat beyond the public commenting period or beyond an agenda item. And so we were trying to identify for people that we don't have to accept that and include it in the record in the online meeting. So I mean, if someone were to send me an email and say, I would like this to be included as, you know, public comment written, or would you please share this with the board, we would certainly still accept the written comment.
And this will still be included in the minutes. I do that all the time. Like, those will be scanned in and included, right?
Yep.
Okay. So that's my mistake, probably, that when I retyped it after the policy committee, that's probably my mistake, that I struck that. I was thinking that the oral/online was thinking of, anyway, that's my fault. I'll fix that.
So should we unstrike the word written?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Okay, the word written will be unstriked, so it'll appear in the policy.
Okay.
And I guess, you know, we have the public here. I just want to make it clear that as we're already on our 4th reading of this, our intention has always been to make it very clear and easy for the public to make comment, never in any way to reduce the public's ability to make those comments.
Thank you, Ursula. So, do we need to back
My
up?
motion includes the unstriking of the word written.
Thank you.
Can we change it right there?
There's a PDF.
Okay. Okay.
Ursula, do you feel okay seconding Jeff?
I second that motion.
Surfing the internet?
Yeah. Who's that?
No, I wonder if Scott's on.
Okay. Trustees, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Amy, how do you vote?
Internet. Bad internet.
Got bad internet.
Can you type it? Rebecca, how do you vote?
Aye.
Let's see. Amy? Are there any opposed? Seeing none, we'll wait for Amy to get back with us on that one, but it will pass. Next item.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, Amy, how do you vote on that? You should have gone with yes or no. Okay. COVID update. Mr. Sullivan's not here.
He is not. He is traveling to state basketball.
Okay. Do you have an update for us? Or?
Yeah, I can give just a quick update. You know, for the most part, things are looking really good, both from a county perspective and from a school district perspective on number of cases. Last week, we had 2 students and 1 staff member, and we ended up with about 21 students quarantined, no staff quarantined. So we're at an all-time low, basically, since school started, and we just hope to be able to continue to see that happen. We are slowly making some adjustments to allowing use of our facilities. Starting after spring break, we're going to up our capacity from 25% to 40%. Still, everybody has to follow all our guidelines and those kind of things, but working with the county health officer and our building administrators, we're in good shape to continue to move forward. And you know, I kind of say we see the light at the end of the tunnel, and we're going to keep walking towards it. And so we're just going to slowly lift some of those things, and hopefully we'll be back to resuming some fairly normal activities here in the near future.
Mike, a clarification on where we are with vaccination. It sounds like at the state level, teachers are still 1C, but at the federal level, they're saying some pharmacies teachers can get.
Yeah, it's a little bit of the Wild West show is kind of been my analogy. The state has still kept teachers in the 1C category. The federal government has said that they will allow teachers to be vaccinated through the pharmacy program. And so there are a few pharmacies, Walgreens being one of them, that is getting some vaccinations in. The challenge is Walgreens doesn't say, hey, we have, 150 vaccines to distribute this week. So basically teachers are left to go online and try and find a vaccine time slot, something that's available for them. We are working with our third-party administrator, First Choice, on possibly getting some additional vaccines and maybe hope to have a clinic in over spring break. So we just continue to keep working the process and just hope for more availability of the vaccine. And so we have lots and lots of teachers and staff members who would like to be vaccinated and are just waiting for their time. We did have people that are traveling to Whitefish, Columbia Falls, Polson, Glendive, people going far afield to get their vaccine right now. So if we can get it closer to home, that would be the best case for us.
Any questions for Micah, trustees?
Like I got a sense today at Rankin, how many times we're getting a vaccination, getting an idea throughout the district? How many are finding a vaccination so far?
I'm not. I'm just getting little pockets of it. I'll get an email here and there from someone who said, hey, I was able to get my vaccine. Can you take me off the main list? So there's a lot of kind of in and out on who's getting it, who's not, when they're getting it. And so hard to say what percentage of our staff has been vaccinated at this point.
So at some point, can we keep a master list so we kind of know how our staff is doing? It would be good to know if we're getting up to 50% of our staff getting vaccinated, or it would be nice to know how our staff is doing.
Yeah, when we sent out just a quick survey to our staff just saying, do you want to be vaccinated? Do you want to be put on the list? And, one of the things about that list is some people didn't respond, and some people responded that they do not wish to be vaccinated at this time. That's their healthcare, that's their prerogative, and so it's not really my business to know who or how many. All I wanted to do was facilitate the opportunity for them to be vaccinated when the time came. So, I can kind of work through some of that and get a general idea, but I don't know how accurate the percentage will actually be. But kind of like we said, the opportunity to be vaccinated doesn't mean that everybody's going to be, and we're not requiring it. So we're going to have to play it a little bit by ear on that.
That's right. We just want to get the opportunity out there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ma'am, do you have a question? Yeah.
Well, with the new update, with the mask requirement that we were going to keep in place, it was also being kept in place in order for the teachers until they were vaccinated. So my question is if we're not sure and we don't have a way to tell how many teachers have been vaccinated, say this summer, I'm just wondering, how are you going to be able to determine that we have a good majority covered to take the mask off?
Yeah, that's a great question. My general response to that would be that once we know that, we've moved into Tier 1C if something hasn't changed at the state level, but knowing that, the Biden administration said that they wanted to make sure that all teachers were vaccinated before the end of, I can't remember what month, March, May. We're going to probably look at that as the determiner for when they've had the opportunity. So, and again, it just comes back to that availability. Like the county health department gets X number of vaccines, and they say, this week we're able to do 1,200, and next week we're only able to do 300. But teachers aren't even on that list yet. So that's kind of the challenge. But at some point we're going to be able to say, look, we've had the opportunity to be vaccinated. It's presented itself, and those who who choose to take advantage of it, great. If you don't want to, that's fine too.
Thank you. Next information item, strategic plan. That's you again, Micah.
Yes. So after our last board meeting, we talked a little bit about the timeline, and I had a nice meeting with Deborah Silk, and we were able to update the timeline. So I just wanted to bring the board up to speed on that. The survey, and so basically everything kind of got pushed back a little bit, but we're looking at having a survey ready by March 30th for our community, and it'll remain open until April 7th. And then Deborah will provide the executive summary of the survey results on April 13th, which is a scheduled board meeting. And then we'll start our first strategic planning session where public are welcome, and we'll really start doing the deep dive into what Kalispell Public Schools is all about. And we'll do that on April 27th. And then at our next work session on May 25th will be the second part of that. And then the third one in June. And we'll hopefully have a draft ready for the July board meeting. And hopefully we can adopt it in August. So kind of pushed everything back a little bit, which is just fine. We'll still be able to get everything done and look forward to doing it.
Any questions for Micah? Okay. New business, human resources and personnel. I know Sue's got a few words, thoughts.
I do. I asked Lance, I wanted to make the motion to approve these personnel items, but we usually just kind of gloss over these, but I wanted to point out to everybody a particular person here. Sylvia Hesselwood has worked for the district for 39 years. Not only was she the person who hired me to work for the school district, but she has left a huge footprint with us. She is the reading teacher here now. She was the special ed department head before I was in there. She has been instrumental in mentoring many new teachers, including myself. It wasn't 39 years ago that she hired me, but it was close. But I just wanted to point out, you know, that this person deserves our thanks and some recognition for those years. And so I move that we accept these personnel items as presented.
And I want to second that one because that same Sylvia Hesselwood taught vacation bicycle to all four of my kids. So sometimes these people have long-lasting effects all over our community that need to be recognized.
Further discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Rebecca?
Aye.
Amy?
Aye.
Any opposed? Looks like all but Amy could. Oh, there's Amy. Thank you, Amy. Non-renewal of 1 year, 21-22 classified.
Yeah, so we have a list of employees currently with the district that were on 1 year only contracts in the classified group. And so we're bringing those forward to the board for basically a non-renewal.
Do all the board members realize that this is an annual occurrence? That this shouldn't be shocking and sound cold and harsh?
Ursula?
It was kind of along those lines. All of these people would have the ability to apply for other jobs again. It's not like we are firing these people.
We are firing.
It's called non-renewal.
Right.
Yes, they are all eligible for rehire, provided there is a position and funding for that, for those positions.
Okay.
Entertain a motion?
I move that we accept the non-renewal of the 2020, is it 21-22 classified? Yes.
Yes.
I'll second that.
Kim seconds that. Further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Amy?
Aye.
Rebecca?
Aye.
Any opposed? There's Amy, thank you. Motion carries
Is that
unanimously.
an opposition one or a favor?
I know, right? It's a little
Yeah, the timing was.
So the next list is the certified staff, and these also were limited duration contracts. Many of them were the result of our remote education center. So we have a lot of people on this list. We hired, I can't remember what the exact total was, but I think it was somewhere around 17 FTE to cover our remote education needs this year. A lot of them were maybe a 0.2 additional contracts, so they gave up their prep period to take on an additional teaching assignment at some point in the day. So again, this is a group of people that, great teachers, good people, but the contract is expiring.
Jack?
So do we need to recognize in the motion that they're reverting back to their full-time equivalent, or we're just?
It does, Cal, can you scroll down just a little bit? It shows what their one-year only FTE is, and then what their original FTE.
I just didn't know if the motion had to recognize what they revert back to, and that, and like, because the previous one, I think, had a couple of people that were reverting back to unless I misread it and confused it with this. I just didn't know if the motion needed to include, if it was just,
I don't think so, Jack, just because it's, the additional contract was for that 0.2 or that 0.4. But we do need two motions because one is, there's a elementary group and then there's also high school.
Will?
So, the folks who have asterisks is for tenure or non-tenure?
Yeah, if it has one asterisk, they're moving to their tenure year, and if there are two, they are non-tenured employees.
so they are tenured.
What, so their contract is ending, but they're moving to a tenured status? Does that mean there's a contract they're moving to, or their old contract amount, FTE?
Yeah.
I'm not really sure what the tenure piece is of.
Yeah, so if you look at one of those teachers, they might be a tenured teacher who is on a 1.2 contract for this year. They were teaching a section of remote, and then they're going back to their 1.0 FTE.
As a tenured?
Yep, as a tenured employee.
Thanks.
Ursula?
Did I make a motion?
Yeah, for the elementary district?
Yes.
All right.
I move that we accept the non-renewal for the certified staff for the 21-22 year.
I'll second that.
Okay. Further discussion? Elementary trustees, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Rebecca?
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Motion carries the elementary district unanimously. High school district. Will?
I move that we accept the high school district non-certification for the 2021-22.
Thank you.
Second?
Further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Amy?
Aye.
Rebecca?
Aye.
Was that Amy and Rebecca?
Aye.
Yeah, I said aye. I believe Amy did as well.
Okay. Are there any opposed? We'll say the motion carries unanimously. Consent agenda, district-wide. Did everyone have time to review that? Any questions?
I move approval of consent agenda.
Thank you.
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Amy?
Aye.
Rebecca?
Aye.
Thank you. Amy?
Aye.
All right, we'll say that everyone but Amy voted on that affirmative. Unless she pipes in shortly.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, Amy, how you vote on the consent agenda?
I don't know why. I've been saying aye.
Thank
Alfred,
you. All right. Amy, since we got you on the line, do you have a trustee report?
No.
Okay. Diane, start with, over here.
You know, I'm so impressed with all of these tournaments and end of the year, end of the season championships. I was at the swim one, but the wrestling, everything, and all the time that is being put in by coaches and administrators. Wow, we never thought we were going to make it through, and we have done it, and we have done it in an organized manner. And the MHSA organization, I think I'm going to send them a letter and say it's the most organized and well-run season I've ever seen. I'm impressed, and hats off to Montana. Great job.
Mark.
Oh, I was just going to report that when I voted yay or nay on something, it's never black and white. I never vote 100% yay on anything. And typically, I never vote 100% nay on anything. And with the mask issue, you know, we can all agree this is not fun. The kids are in school, and the science is not perfect. And erring on the side of caution, it got my 80% yes vote. There are lots of reasons why we want to see this thing end, and we're getting there. We're getting close. We think we are, but the science is not perfect. There's very few things where science is perfect. I just wanted to give you my 2 cents. It seems to me like we're cold, callous people because we don't answer questions immediately or comment immediately, but a lot of effort goes into this, and I'm not cold or callous. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Ursula?
I wanted to kind of echo something that Micah had said earlier, which is that it does seem like there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And from what I have been hearing from teachers, there is a sense of hopefulness that we are approaching a place where we can start to return back to normalcy. And also kind of echoing what Mark says, I hope that we can all, as a community, understand that, you know, we all have the same goal in the end, and hopefully we are getting closer and closer to that.
Thank you. Will?
Yeah, I was touring Rankin this morning, and, you know, it's our newest school. I just want to say it's beautiful. It seems really well designed, and it's full of happy-looking kids. I mean, every classroom we went into was a very positive place. So Rankin is doing a good thing, and I'm glad our students are there.
Thank you, Will. Kim?
I guess for me, I'm going to resonate and piggyback on Ursula and Mark as well. I mean, we listen, and for myself, I have read all the emails, and we do listen, and I appreciate everybody coming in and speaking their mind. It is hard here, but we do listen. So, thank you.
Scott?
I'll pass to Sue.
First of all, I apologize. I keep forgetting to turn my microphone on, but I have a loud voice as it is. But anyway, I also want to piggyback on what others have said. I very much respect, especially the students who come and show some courage in expressing their concerns and their opinions. Totally respect that. I did not go into teaching because I didn't like students. I love especially the teenagers, and so I have to give you, a big kudos for coming in and showing that courage. I know it's been a tough year for everybody. You are listened to. We have to listen to everybody, and we hear a lot of voices. But thank you, you know, I do appreciate you coming in and expressing those opinions. But yeah, we listen to a lot of voices. So thank you for coming in. And, oh, and a quick shout out from MTSBA. I'm getting a little weary of following the legislative session. But the update we got today was very encouraging. Of course, not all the bills are going exactly the way MTSBA had hoped they would, but they are, they're more optimistic than they have been at the very beginning. But lots happening now because we're through transmittal date for everything but fiscal bills. So, yeah, lots going on.
Jeff?
I wasn't going to say anything, but Sue reminded me that, well, I'm going to be in Helena tomorrow opposing a bill that flew through the House and the Senate, and I think it'll get shot down. But it's not related to school districts, it's related to something else, but I just thought you'd be entertained that I can be opposed to something.
That's entertaining.
And I just want to thank all the trustees for their commitment to School District 5. It's been a year that we will remember. And as an elected official, yeah, thank you for leading. Rebecca?
I do have a trustee report. Last week was the Montana Tech Regional Science and Engineering Fair. 4 District 5 students did enter, and it was truly a Herculean task this year, figuring out the new virtual format. It was a lot for everybody involved. All of our students got earned ribbons, so I was really impressed. And I also happened to judge at this event, and to see some of the small schools from these tiny towns like Baker, Montana, which I had to look up. I didn't even know what it was, 1,000-person town. Really go the extra mile and, you know, get their students there made me really think that we can do a great job here too. You know, we have a lot more infrastructure than some of those places that managed to do a great job at Science Fair, but mostly just so impressed with our 4 students who did so well this year.
Thanks, Rebecca. Administrative reports. I'm going to throw Mike off and go to Gwen first.
I don't have anything. You're not throwing Mike off. You're throwing me off. Yeah, I don't have anything.
Okay.
You'll be hearing from me quite a bit in the next few months, so.
I look forward to it. Callie?
I do have a report. The summer school planning is already started. I have a group of teachers, counselors, and administrators that will be coming together next week, and we're going to have a look at what that model can look like. We have 2 objectives. One is to see if we can design a model that will close the gap, if there is one, and also kind of focus in on what the latest cliche, so to speak, about the learning loss. And so we want to see at the high school level if there's something we can do there to come up with a different model for our summer school, and then also at the elementary level. So stay tuned. I will be working that through the board curriculum committee onto finance and then the full board, but we're pretty excited about some possibilities for summer school coming up. The traffic education department, on the consent agenda tonight, you hired 7 new instructors for the program. And we are also right in the middle of tapping into some existing software the district uses that we are going to now do online signups for our traffic education. The reason we hired additional instructors and tapping into the software is we have, in my humble opinion, not been providing the best customer service over the years. We can do better. And it was finally like, okay, enough of the talk, we're going to do better. We're going to provide better support to our parents and our students that want to take traffic education. And so we're very excited about that. We have 2 new directors that came on board at the end of the year. They're thinking, they're very proactive, customer service oriented. And so you're seeing some of those things now come to fruition because of their vision. The rec center, remote education center, continues to hold monthly faculty meetings. Right now, we're looking at gathering feedback from the instructors on how the school year's gone so far as we're kind of winding towards the end of the school year. Also, OPI, we are right in the middle of cycle 1 on the curriculum reviews. I have launched off 2 curriculum reviews already, social studies and also library media. The tech ed curriculum review will launch next week. And so we will have groups of teachers going through the process, and there's a standard review process that we do, and they will go through that. Expect at the end of their process, and it might not be until next year that I'm back in front of you, but expect that there will be some textbook adoptions or materials adoptions, things like that. But again, that will all go through the curriculum committee, on to finance, and then in front of the whole board with those processes. The KEEP program, which is the Kalispell Educator Excellence Program, which is the program that is the induction mentoring program. In the last month, we've had our new teachers pair up with their mentors and go out and watch other teachers teach. They have had very specific look forwards. They don't just go out and spend half a day out on some just dandy thing. They're very specific on what they're looking for, such as questioning techniques, transitions, classroom management, classroom environment, things like that. And that's always a big hit when teachers, especially first-year teachers, can watch other teachers teach. We have 6 directors that run that program, 3 high school, 3 elementary, and those 6 directors and myself had the opportunity to participate in a 2-day virtual conference that was put on by the University of Illinois, and that happened since the last time we met as a board. They had actually, those 6 directors had actually gone to that conference last year in person, year before. And, no, it was last year, because it was before we shut down. I'm sorry, it was last year. And it was, finding a mentor induction conference is few and far between in the United States. So we finally zeroed in on the University of Illinois, and we went back this year and got some splendid resources, materials. So you're going to see another change, another upgrade in that program to meet the needs of our new teachers. I've been working with high school principals in discussions about graduation ceremonies, what those are looking like. Plans are well underway, even though it's March. And also, we are really zeroing in on building the master schedule for next year, which means, for example, this Friday, I'm working with administrators from both high schools, and we're going to look at how we can share teacher FTE, if we need new FTE because we have enrollment increases, all those. So you may eventually, at some point in time, we may end up having to have extra FTE or not. I don't know, because we're just kind of starting the process on that. Our goal when we build a master schedule is that when a teacher leaves at the end of the school year, they have their master schedule in their hands. They know what they're going to teach. They know the classroom they're going to teach in. That's our ultimate goal. And so we really need to get hopping on that right now. Elementary principals, their focus area that we've been working on is they have developed a different approach to professional development. They did a pilot this year that was highly successful, and they are going full steam ahead with it next year. The professional development will be a program that's on a wheel, modeled around a wheel. And we are going to at some point present that in front of the board. It is very exciting. They are currently, I'd say they're probably, Tracy, would you say maybe you're about 70% done with it or more? Yeah, kind of into your review right now. And we'll bring that to the other administrators in the district and hope that we get a K through 12 wheel going for professional development. I know Michelle's highly interested in it, and she's done a lot of work over the years in professional development. So very excited about the work they're doing at the elementary level with professional development. The other piece that they are also working on is the master schedule at the elementary level. We have a big meeting where we'll roll up our sleeves, and that meeting is April 1st. We roll up our sleeves and really sit down to see, because as you saw tonight, we have a lot of teachers that we hired to teach in the rec program that were on one-year contracts. So we need to get hopping on to figure out if those teachers have any chance of applying for a job that may be open, if we even have any openings. Well, the last thing we want to do is sit at the end of July and say, oh, I guess we had an opening. And then we're not in the competitive market to get top-notch teachers. So this district has always taken a position that we are very aggressive really early on, so that we have cream of the crop teachers that come here. And that's why we're going after those master schedules when we are. Both high schools have had their 4-point ceremonies. Not only did they honor our students that have a 4-point perfect GPA for this last semester or the semester from last year, but they also, both high schools have a group of students that have 7 semesters of perfect 4 points. And so those have been going on. After working in this district for 28 years, as you can imagine, I've gone to a lot of retreats. I've hosted a lot of retreats. And I have to say, I went to one on Monday, on March 1st, that was one of the best ones that I've gone to. And I'm very, very appreciative of that. And the central office administrators had a retreat. We went up to Glacier, so we could spread out. And it really stretched our brains, and it felt really good. It was visionary, it was progressive, and I just left there and was like, oh my goodness, it was really good work. The question why was asked a lot in that room, and so I don't know if Micah, how much he shared with you, but I just wanted to chip in and just say I greatly appreciated the high top-notch quality retreat work session. We've also completed the work with the district professional development committee in the certified union agreement, CPA. There's a paragraph or two in there that talks about our expectations, our relationship with the union and our professional development. And it is a collaborative approach, which we've done, and it's been great over the years. But one of those things is we actually meet and plan professional development together, and that was met last week. We had a great session. I brought a group of teachers, K through 12, together, had a couple administrators, Tracy was there, and we had a great session. And part of the elementary wheel was actually, we did a peer audit on that right during that session. So we got a lot of work done during that and got a lot of feedback. And that feedback from that group that was at that meeting then will go back to the administrators so that they know what the teachers are wanting for professional development and, more importantly, how they want it delivered. So there's 10 plus different models of professional development out there. We want to make sure we meet the needs of our teachers. And so we were able to get that feedback in addition to the survey we sent out to the teachers, had over 200 responses to the survey. And we are in good shape for zeroing in exactly what we are going to do to support our staff, not only teachers, but our non-classified, non-certified, people also. So pretty excited about the work that's being done there. And then last but not least, I had the opportunity to work at the state wrestling tournament. And I am a firm believer that activities are a part of the overall school experience. And I hope that every student, K through 12, at some grade level, participates in a meaningful way in activities. And we were so lucky to get the state wrestling here, because usually it's tied up in Billings and it's an all-class meet, and there's the Metro field, there's over 7,000 people watching wrestling matches. And this was different because it was just the AA schools. And I have to say, we hosted an absolutely wonderful wrestling tournament. And, the wrestling started, we reported for duty, I think Glenn reported for duty, Glenn and Tracy had to be there like 4 to 6 on Friday morning.
We got a 1 hour repeat.
Oh, 1 hour, so they got the
Here until 6:45.
Okay, 6:45. And the last wrestling match was over at 11:30 that night. And and Micah sat there, he couldn't even leave his chair because he was timing and scoring at the table where the wrestlers are doing their thing. And there was, it was absolutely, I could go on and on, but my point is, it was a great event for kids, but also I acknowledge the staff that helped. I mean, I could go on and on. The sous chef, there is a business teacher at Flathead. She had an EPA kid there learning how to host the hospitality room. I mean, it trickled out in all different directions. And again, it was the right thing for us to do for kids. I'm not very eloquent in my speaking about that stuff, but it was a great day for our kids and our staff. It's a great weekend for us, and I'll just make one last. To have Flathead win a state title in both the guys and the gals wrestling, that I would say may not ever happen again. That is like, don't bet on it, put it that way, because you probably lose your mind. That's a real rare thing. So anyway, we have a lot of really good things going on in this district, and we have a lot of good people stepping up in all different directions. And I'm proud to be a part of it, and I thank you.
Thank you, Callie. Any questions for Callie? Will?
Kelly, on the driver's ed, we've added some staff to that program. Did we also make changes to the fleet of cars that we have?
We did. So we hope to have more sessions so that we don't have the backlog. I just cringed, like, it was one thing, Will, that when I took on the current position that I have, I just couldn't quite get to it and get my hands around. I knew what I didn't like, and I didn't want to, if parents signs up for driver's ed, I wanted them to be in driver's ed and not wait forever.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of things that just bothered me. I didn't think we were providing best customer service for our parents and our students. And so we needed more cars, we needed more drivers, we're cleaning up the curriculum, we're having online registration. We're getting there.
Did we buy cars, or were we leasing some more cars? Well, how did that happen?
I'm going to ask the car director.
We lease our cars from Kalispell Toyota.
All right.
And, go ahead. Yeah. We did increase our fleet, and I hope to serve a lot more students this summer and going into the next year.
Sounds great.
Thank you.
And Micah, do you have a report?
I do not. My report is the agenda.
I'm leaving in 2 minutes.
Okay. No, I could echo a lot of the same things. You know, Bryce Wilson, Flathead High School Activities Director, putting on a tournament of that magnitude, and with all of the regulations and rules and just different things we had to do to make that happen. Hats off to the Flathead administration. They put on a great event, and it was exciting to see the Flathead boys win, and in pretty convincing fashion, and had a couple of individual state champions, and it was exciting. And I mean, it was, you know, fairly close between second, third, and fourth place. Third and fourth place was decided by the final match of the night on Saturday night, and so it was great. It was just good energy, and great to be a part of it.
So I think we've got a few upcoming meetings. A few.
Oh, one of those meetings has changed.
The personnel from March 10th to March 17th.
From tomorrow to next Wednesday.
All right. Any questions about that? If not, I would entertain a motion to adjourn because Jack has got to get to hockey.
I move to be adjourned.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Further conversation, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Adjourned. Thank you.